Welcome back to the Hockey Show. We are currently 17 minutes counting left of the NHL trade deadline, and what a boring final day it has been. But that's because all the trades have already happened. Nothing's left to do, except the Penguins are up to work this final day. They've brought on two characters. Well, I guess one of them was actually last night, depending. I don't know what time it actually was. But then we got one today. So the Pittsburgh Penguins, loading up for the playoffs, have brought on Nick Bonino, of course, from the two back-to-back Stanley Cup runs. Nick Bonino, part of the HBK line, and bring on 10 goals to 19 assists this year. So I think that's a pretty good add to their team, and I'll go into a little bit more later. And Dmitry Kulikov for the back end on defense, bring 15 points, but that is not why they brought him on for points. They brought him on for defensive reasons, as the Penguins really need it. They really do need, I think, a lot more depth in the stronger, just a deeper team. I think a lot stronger, hard-nosed guys to play. Not hard-nosed in a Brendan Lemieux way, but hard-nosed as in just hard to play against and score against guys. Both these guys are known more for their defensive prowesses. Nick Bonino, of course he can produce, but I think he is better known as a third, fourth line guy to just keep the other team at bay, put him on the ice, and to eat up some minutes, And Kulikov definitely is a defensive defenseman. He's definitely just a solid guy to put on your back end. On Minnesota last year, he was phenomenal. So I really do think Kulikov and Bonino, these are two solid moves for the Penguins, bringing an old guy on the team and a guy who's really going to help up back on defense, which I think the Penguins do need a lot of. In return for these trades, Anaheim, getting from Dmitry Kulikov, of course, gets Brock McGinn's contract, which was a $2.75 million contract for three, well, I guess depending on how you look at it, 3 more years or 2, or however, depending on how you view these things. They move his contract off of the team. And it was also a 5th-round pick. I don't know why I didn't write it on the board. So a 5th-round pick as well for Dmitry Kulikov, which I think is a steal for them. I don't know why any other team wouldn't have bought in on him. Especially a guy like I don't even know. The trade deadline this year has been strange to me, and I don't know how a team couldn't have moved out their own Brock McGinn type guy to bring on Kulikov and have a good, solid defenseman back there and just put out there as one of your players. And I think it's crazy to me. I feel like if any of us were GMs, at least for me, I'd be like having the best team that has ever existed in the NHL, just with these types of moves and types of players I can bring on these teams for what the price is. So solid steal, I guess, basically, for the Penguins, bringing super good defensemen for getting rid of a contract and just a boring nothing pick, really. And then the San Jose Sharks were trading Nick Bonino, where they needed a third team to be on this deal to hold some of the cap space, which is the Montreal Canadiens. So in return for these guys, the Sharks, for trading Bonino, get a 7th-round pick and Arvid Henriksen, who's a Swedish, I think he's 26 or something like that, prospect guy. Probably not going to be NHL worthy anytime soon, probably more like an AHL guy. And the Montreal Canadiens get a 5th-round pick for holding on to the cap space, as well as Tony Sund. So, decent returns, I guess. For Nick Bonino, I think it's actually, for 2 teams to give that stuff away and for their troubles, I feel like they kind of, I don't want to say ripped off the Penguins, because it's not like they got a ton in back, but I would rather have what they got in return than just Nick Bonino. But the Penguins definitely buying in with Michael Granlund, Nick Bonino, Dmitry Kulikov. With the few remaining minutes left of the trade deadline, now we're at 13. What else are they going to do at this point? I heard that JT Miller was maybe on his way to the Penguins, which I think would be actually maybe the best move I've ever seen the Penguins make. I think that would be a perfect move for them. However, I don't really think it would make them Stanley Cup worthy, which is kind of the problem with the Penguins. But if there is a year for them to try to buy in and take one chance at the Cup, this is the year. I feel like every year we always say that this is the year the Penguins are going to start falling off, and I definitely thought that way before the season started, but it just seems inevitable at some point. I think this upcoming year might be finally the one, because guys like Letang and Malkin and Crosby, obviously the 3 guys are getting up there. Eventually, they're going to start slowing down, and the rest of the team as a whole, guys like Brian Rust have got to start slowing down as well. So this whole team, if there was a year for them to go out there on a limb, get some rentals like they have, this is the year. And Nick Bonino, they're bringing the old boys back in town to go for one more chance at the Cup. And who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if they could get a first-round win. I mean, there's been crazier things to happen. And the Penguins, with what they've added the pieces that I think they need. I think they've now got at least 3 solid offensive lines. Kulikov, I'm not really the biggest fan of the Penguins' defense on paper, really, but they do play well, I guess. I mean, I don't like it looking at it, but it works, I guess. So, and adding Kulikov does not help. I mean, does not hurt this team. So, overall, good moves on all ends. I mean, I feel like, I will say, though, with Anaheim, Kulikov definitely, I feel like, could have gotten them more in return. And especially, like, was there not, once again, no, like, bidding war for, like, a guy like Kulikov, who I think is a sneaky, thought of player, like, background thought, whatever, but what is I'm trying to say? So, yeah, pretty basic trades. I feel like the Penguins definitely won these trades, but at the same time, they didn't give up too much either. So, yeah, so pretty good all around. Penguins gearing up for the playoffs, wild card team most likely, and it's going to be tough whoever they play, if it's the Hurricanes, if it's the Devils, at this point the Rangers, or the Boston Bruins. Any team that they play, it's going to be a really rough series for them. And I don't know if the moves they've made are going to put them over the edge, but I guess, you know, Columbus swept the Tampa Bay Lightning. So maybe we'll get that again. Maybe we'll see. That was a team wearing blue and white, and against the team wearing blue, white, and red. And maybe we'll see it this year. Two teams wearing gold and black. Maybe the one will sweep the other, and setting a new record for the NHL and something like that. So, yeah, all around, boring trade deadline final day. I was hoping to make 50 videos today, but nothing's happened, and I'm kind of sad about it. So, that is all I have to say about this trade, and the Penguins gearing up for the playoffs. I'm liking their chances more, but not that much more. And that is all I have to say. So please feel free to pick up your free subscription down below. We're finally at 100. We're halfway now to 200. So let's please get there. Come on, please help me out. And until next time, I hope your team fared off well in the trade deadline. And there's now 9 minutes left. This isn't going to upload before the end of it. Well, maybe it will, just barely. And yeah, so your trade deadline's most likely over, and that's all. So, too sweet. Have a great day, and ta-ta for now.